Hello, and today we are doing an FPL review for game week number 16. Game week 16 is done, and have you qualified for the FPL Cup? Well, it's down to what you scored this week. If you got 37 or thereabouts, you're probably safe to qualify. But what did I score this week? I scored a whopping 53 points. Come on. That is a lovely score considering everything that went on this week, and I'll get into that and how my transfers went. And basically, yeah, we're going to pick out all the juicy bits from this week. So let's start by saying it's no surprise that this season is absolutely throwing up randomness, crazy stuff, and there's a bit of panic right now in FPL because the fixtures look like they're not going to be played, and there's players that aren't getting points that you'd expect. Salah blanking, Son obviously not playing, and other big hitters not scoring at all. So yeah, it was not a great week for a lot of people, and the game week average was actually pretty low this week. But the main thing to say is that it was a game week forget for a lot of people because the top 10 captaincy options picked by the whole world, the most popular ones, none of them scored. So it was one of those weeks you will look back at it and think, oh my word, that was a bad week, and we're gonna really try and wipe that out of our memory. But luckily for me, I don't need to do that because I had a pretty solid week. So let's get into that. But yes, just talking about that. So Salah, he got 3 points. The second most popular captain, Kane, got none because he didn't play. Son got none. Fernandez got 6. I mean, he got a return, I suppose, just didn't really get in a goal. But Fernandez is Mr. Consistent. It doesn't matter what happens to him and what happens in a particular Premier League week. He just stays Portuguese brilliance. So he's a cracking player. Vardy, 1 pointer. I mean, not many people would have seen him not starting that Palace game, and he often scores against the Eagles. So yeah, that will be a bit of a sore one for the people that had him. But he's now got his rest, so maybe he'll be going ready for that Newcastle game. De Bruyne, 0 pointer. I mean, Man City game getting called off is not ideal stuff, is it really? They've had an outbreak of it, and they had Jesus and Kyle Walker testing positive, and then more of the staff testing positive. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we saw the Burnley Sheffield United game get called off, or not get called off, I should say, when Sheffield United had a few cases and they just put out the team that they could. With less players on the bench. With Man City, they got it postponed. Maybe it was more extreme for the Man City staff than it was for Sheffield United, but it still feels like you gotta do it equally. So yeah, that's an interesting one to look at. But Calvert-Lewin, 0 pointer. A lot of people were debating whether to bench him this week. I literally said in my FPL preview that it's a tough fixture, but I'll probably play him. And I kind of wish I'd benched him now. But at the end of the day, there were so many players that didn't play. It didn't really matter what I did in terms of who I started and who I benched because they all auto subbed anyway. So Werner scored 1 point. I mean, he must be a frustrating player to own right now. Chelsea aren't exactly in the best of form, it's got to be said. But they're 1-1 draw with Villa, and he just seems to have no confidence right now, Timo Werner. So yeah, not ideal stuff there. And Aubameyang, 3 pointer. I mean, that chance where I think he got it on the left-hand side, and with his right foot to try to bend it, and that was just a bit skew-if. But if that's first day of the season against Fulham, it's top bins. So he's really lost his confidence, a bit like Timo Werner. So he needs to get back to scoring goals, and then Arsenal will get back to going up the table. But to be fair, they've had a little bit of a resurgence in the last couple of games. And then we have Sadio Mane, of course. A lot of people were backing him against Newcastle, and a few people brought them in on his wild card, on their wild card, I should say. So, yeah, I was kind of glad that Mane didn't score, to be honest, because I wanted a Salah return, of course, as my captain. You always want a captain return, but with Mane, a lot of people had him, and I didn't have him, so I thought, yeah, I just leave it out. And he did score, to be fair, home and away against Newcastle last season. So I was getting a bit worried, but yeah, he didn't really have much opportunities in the game. It was more Salah that really was unlucky to not score. And fair play to Carl Darlow, really really good performance, made some great saves, and really just stopped Liverpool from playing their way and frustrated them. But as it was at the start of the year, Liverpool end 2020 top of the tree for the Premier League 2020 to 21. But now let's get into my full review of game week number 16. I mean, it's above average. We'll always take that. I think the average this week was 39. As I said, it was a bad game week for a lot of people. Some people scoring 20 pointers, 18 pointers, 25s. And that obviously wouldn't have been enough to qualify for the FPL Cup. Because the FPL Cup, you needed to be in the top 4 million rank for this week. And this week alone. Not overall rank, just this week. And I actually got myself a cracking overall, not overall, but game week rank for game week 16 of 807,000. I think that's the highest, one of the highest I've had in terms of game week ranks. But I suppose because, like I said, everyone really struggled this week. So, you know, if you had your Tottenham assets, if you'd captained your Tottenham assets, and if you'd had your Man City and Everton assets, then you were in trouble. But luckily, I only had Calvert-Lewin, that actually, you know, was the player that was playing in the starting 11 after the auto sub. So I only had, I had 10 players playing. For a few people, there was 9 players, 8 players. But of course, Jimmy Dunn, he didn't play as usual, and I wasn't expecting him to. Heung-min Son didn't play, but he went to my bench, and Zuma didn't play, frustratingly, which would have been nice, obviously, to have Zuma starting, because then I could have had Calvert-Lewin out for Zuma, and we play 4 at the back, but Zuma didn't get picked for some reason. Maybe it was a rest, maybe it was a slight injury, we don't know really, but anyway, the Chelsea-Man City game is in doubt of being played anyway, so we might bench him this week, we don't know. And talking of benching, before I cover the other main points of my FPL team this week, it's got to be said, Che Adams. Now, he came off the back of that West Ham game. It wasn't a very nice challenge, was it, with Craig Dawson? Dawson put in a good defensive display, but he kind of just missed the ball, Craig Dawson, and instead of the ball, he got the circular shape of Che Adams' head. So basically, Hasenhüttl obviously was having to stay at home because one of his members of the household tested positive, so he had to isolate. But he's now revealed, Hasenhüttl, that Adams did not suffer any lasting effects because of that accidental boot to the head from Craig Dawson. So that's good for my FPL team, of course. I literally brought him in this week, and I was thinking that would not be good. But at the end of the day, though, they have said that the Saints boss does admit that the striker is actually feeling it right now, and that will be about the Christmas schedule and basically after he's played pretty much every game this season. So yeah, he's got a game against Liverpool coming up, and I'll be doing my FPL preview soon, so watch out for that. But I'll probably bench him, to be honest. I know it's a bit of a spoiler, but that kind of helped me make my decision because number one, he's a bit tired, and there's so many games. Number two is Liverpool, and number three, maybe he'll feel the effects of that head injury. But to be honest, it was fine. He seemed to carry on at the time, so I think we should be fine in terms of fitness. It's just a matter of game time, because now Ings is probably back from injury, whether or not he starts ahead of him against Liverpool. You know, it's a tough game anyway, so Southampton wouldn't have probably gone for it anyway. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking there. But let's move on to the main points for this week. And at the end of the day, it's a green arrow. We always love the green arrows, and to be fair, I have got a few green arrows now in a row, which there was a period in the season where I was getting loads of green arrows, and it was just not ideal stuff at all. And like I said, 53 this week is actually a really good score. So yeah, so basically, it started going pretty badly from game week 11. Game week 11, I had 2 consecutive red arrows in game week 11 and game week 12. And game week 12 was the one that really hurt because we were up to where we want to be this season. Our aim for this season, by the way, is to break into that 600k mark. And we were on 672, which is around about where we want to be. But then after game week 11, in game week 12, we got all the way down to 1.07 million, and it really did sting. So that was a second consecutive red arrow in game week 12. And then game week 13, we shot back up. You love to see it. Just inside the top million, but, you know, progress is progress. Game week 14, once again, green arrow, lovely stuff. Back up to 755k. and then a red arrow again last week. And I don't even need to talk about last week because it was a freak week. 39 points. It was 40 less than the previous week, and you thought, really, there's just no need for it. But this week we're back to good stuff really, and eclipsing our score of game week 13 with 53. Very, very nice stuff. And that does put us on a rank of 736,574. So that's lovely, and that does mean we can start hopefully preparing to get closer to that 600k mark. But yeah, it was a pretty decent week, all things considered. So yeah, the highest points, well done to the team called N Woke Vincent, triple captain, and fair play. They got a bit jammy because they triple captain Kane and then vice captained Stuart Dallas. I mean, you don't get much jammier than that, really. Fair play, you have Dallas in your team. You also had Zaha on the bench, which has got a sting, but yeah, fair play. You know, to vice captain a defender is never usually a decision that people tend to do. But if you do it and it works, it really does pay off. And the triple captain on a defender from Leeds is just mad. I mean, 36 points for a triple captain is actually not bad, I think. But you probably want to be looking to get like 45 points on a triple captain, and that's why I'm probably going to save mine for a double game week later on in the season. But still, that's a mad score. So well done there, in Woke Vincent with the 95 pointer. But yeah, just going back to my team, it was above average. It was a green arrow, and it was an increase of 163k, which is pretty nice stuff. You know, we're climbing the ranks at this point, and hopefully we're back to the comeback trail, because in a few of my mini leagues, certainly in my main 2 mini leagues that I'm looking at, I've gone up to second, and I'm still first in the other. And you know, in a few head-to-head leagues, I'm climbing the ranks. I had a little bit of a deficit to make up, but hopefully I should be on the path to redemption, on the comeback trail now. So that's good. And the main thing is we're back in the top 740k, so that's really, really nice to see. But let's talk about the catalysts for this good week, and they were, of course, Leeds United. What a win against West Brom, and Bamford and Stuart Dallas are the absolute saviours. Stuart Dallas, my guy, with 12 points. I mean, he's just such a legend at this point. Like, he looked so attacking, and he's just a machine. He just keeps going. I mean, the assist, like, lovely stuff. It's a really nice assist. The clean sheet, just delicious. And the bonus. 3 bonus points is so big for my team. So, yeah, that was really, really nice. And you got to say, that last goal that Dallas did assist, the little 1-2 with Rafinha, and then the bending shot into that top left corner was excellent goals by Leeds, and they really do look a good side. But maybe the fact they're playing West Brom could, skew it a little bit. But we'll see what they do against Tottenham. You never know. But yeah, Stuart Dallas, what a god, and he is nowhere near leaving my team, because he's just been the next Lundstram. I think we're nearly at the point where we can start to say that, but obviously it'd be nice if he carries it on all season, whereas we know John Lundstram fell off after the second half. So let's move on to our goalkeeper this week, and what a legend, Alex McCarthy. I mean, he's just so good. He gets so many save points, and let's be honest, McCarthy is a bonus points magnet. Like, he literally is. And he was playing against a West Ham team that were doing quite well this season, but it was the ideal scenario for my team, because it was a 0-0, and Cresswell and McCarthy got clean sheets. I mean, that's just lovely. Obviously, it's not ideal for Jared Bowen, who came on for the Heung-min Son auto subs, who didn't play and didn't do anything. Bowen is starting to worry me now, because he's not getting many minutes. But yeah, at the end of the day, he's still got that double fixture, so I'll think about it. But Cresswell, another clean sheet, and Kufal getting rested was an interesting one. A few people had him, so that hurt. Craig Dawson, obviously, the reason for that, and they played Fredericks, I'm pretty sure, as well. So yeah, it's good to see that Cresswell is still playing and still getting clean sheets, so that's really, really nice. But yeah, as I said, McCarthy, what a legend, and just like Stuart Dallas, picks up those bonus points, 3 saves to get the extra point, 2 bonus points. And as I said, a goalkeeper, all you really want is a clean sheet, and that's what we got. And then, of course, we had a 6-pointer from Cresswell. I mean, It's always good when a defender gets a clean sheet. Would have been nice to get an attacking return, but for the sake of McCarthy's clean sheet, we don't mind it. Now, the last defender didn't have the best of games, but it was James Justin, and I was hoping for a clean sheet against Palace, but Zaha was just far too good for that to happen. And he could have easily got a clean sheet in this game, James Justin. There was the ball that he threaded through to Iosi Perez, and he just unfortunately was off balance and shot it over. So yeah, it could have been another big point haul for Justin, but he's getting forward and he's attacking, and it's good to see. It's just I hope that the time won't come where he gets rotated out for Ricardo Pereira. I think Pereira is still a little bit behind getting back, but we'll see how things develop. We'll monitor that one. But for now, I don't see any reason to not play him because of how attacking he is, and Leicester have been a good side this season, so anything that they do well, he's sometimes involved in. Then the midfield and Jared Bowen. I mean, 1-pointer. You hate to see it, really. I mean, I guess the tight schedule is understandable for why David Moyes is starting to change up his selection, but from an FPL point of view, it is very, very frustrating that he only played 18 minutes. But maybe that means he starts the next game against Everton. We just really don't know. We don't know with the Christmas tinkering. So we'll see what happens with the roulette with the team selection changes. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I was always saying that Bowen was a long-term move. It wasn't a short-term one, and hopefully he does deliver in the long term. Or if not, we have to think about getting someone else. But then we had Mohamed Salah. I mean, it's a really frustrating one. It was something mad, like 134,000 or 100, like something on like 1 million or something. So many managers captained Salah this week, and I was so close to captaining Son, so I'm so relieved I didn't. But and to be fair, I probably would have vice captained Salah, but at the end of the day, I thought Salah was going to get points against Newcastle, and he so easily could have on another day. That's the thing. So literally, those two chances. It's frustrating to have a blank, of course, for a captain, but he was a bit unlucky because the first chance, great save from Cardalo, just gets his hand to it and palms it away, and it just dribbled past the post. And then the second one was kind of a similar chance in the fact that it was so close, but went past the post, and yeah, he just couldn't get his feet sorted out, and it just was one that just went past him, and there was nothing you could do about it. So yeah, it's a shame, but on another day he scores two goals, and everyone's saying that Salah's the most in form and must-have player in FPL. So 6 points for a captain is not the end of the world. Like if I hadn't have captained Salah and he gets 6 points, that's an assist. So in this week, you got to put it into perspective, really. Then Jack Grealish, 2-pointer. Real shame, to be honest, but he was playing against a tough team in Chelsea. Just didn't quite influence the game as we'd have wanted him to. But if you look over his, game week average over the last 10 weeks, he's not been that bad. So maybe he's one to hold. Fernandez, 6-pointer. I said how he's just Mr. Consistent, really. And I was praying for a return when I transferred him in this week for Kevin De Bruyne. And in hindsight, that was such a lucky transfer. But maybe it was a skillful one. I just had a feeling that Man City would... Yeah, to be fair, Fernandez, he did get kind of a nice assist, but there was a lot of work that Rashford had to do, so we'll take it at the end of the day. Fernandez is still such a good player. And yeah, got the assist for that Rashford goal. Last-ditch stuff, really. But I think it is appropriate that the last goal of 2020 is scored by Marcus Rashford, the man that's really done so much for so many people in 2020. So, yeah. Then the West Brom game, back to Bamford. I mean, 2 assists. You love to see it. But it was surprising to see, obviously, that Bamford didn't get any bonuses with more assists than Dallas. But you understand it because of the fact that Dallas is always on that fullback position, always getting forward, whipping in crosses, and of course got the clean sheet as a defender. So yeah, we could have seen a bonus point there for Bamford on another day, but at the end of the day, an 8-point haul for a striker, pretty nice. Calvert-Lewin, of course, didn't play, so there's not much we could have done about that. Would he have scored if the game had gone ahead? To be fair, I think he probably would have, but at the end of the day, we can't think like that. It's just is what it is. And then Che Adams, 1-pointer. Not ideal. Got taken off just before the 60-minute mark, which is quite frustrating for him to not get the 2 points. But as I said, he's still a good player to have for that double game week, and I don't really look like I'm going to play him this week. But he's going to be really helpful in the long term. So yeah, and then Macy, of course, 0-pointer. Zuma, 0-pointer. Son didn't play, and Dunn didn't play. So those auto subs really did help me. It's got to be said, especially Cresswell with 6 points there for the Zuma blank. So yeah, Bowen obviously is a man that I'm looking at, thinking, come on, son, you need to pull your weight here. But yeah, it's an interesting week, and at the end of the day, we go again in game week number 17. But it was a good week considering. I think I made the best out of a bad situation, really. And you could say that technically Che Adams got the assist for that Southampton goal, but it was offside, so it's unfortunate. But I think the Fernandes transfer really did make the difference. The Wilson to the Adams transfer, I think it was unfortunate because obviously both games had a 0-0 result. So there was not much difference in it. I mean, if I'd have done that transfer for a hit, then you'd have said, okay, well, that was not a good transfer. But I was just looking at Wilson long term. I didn't want to have him, and he didn't have the double game week, whereas Che Adams did. So maybe it was not a bad transfer, and it probably will help me in long term. Just it was a bit of a stalemate this week. And then of course I still didn't have 4 players that played. So 4 players blanking, and I still go up in most of my mini leagues. It's pretty nice stuff, really. So yeah, I've qualified for the cup with a decent game week rank. Let's find out who I'm playing in the FPL Cup in game week 17. I'll talk about that when I do my game week 17 FPL review. But how did your game week go? Put it down in the comment section below. But thanks for watching my review of game week number 16. 53 points. Come on. Oh, you love to see it. But yeah, obviously it's not ideal, the fact that the double game week coming up, and we could still get more games in that double game week, like the Everton Man City game, the Spurs Fulham game. Who even knows? So there's a little bit of doubt over the games. Will they go ahead? But at the end of the day, all you can do in FPL is hope. And it's the hope that sometimes kills you. But also, if you have a plan, if you have a strategy, try and stick to it. If it doesn't work, and if games are postponed, then you just got to adapt to it, really. So yeah, good luck with the crazy FPL schedule as always. But I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.